So a phrase that you might have heard knocking around during transfer deadline day this week is something called a deal sheet. Premier League clubs, or any club for that matter, needing to complete a deal sheet to do a transfer deal in the final hours of the window. But what is a deal sheet? What does it look like? And why is it so important? And have there been any instances of deal sheets being submitted perhaps a bit too late to actually complete a transfer and therefore the deal being off? I've got everything you need to know here on the channel as always, guys. So Premier League clubs need to complete a deal sheet in order to complete a transfer in the subsequent 2 hours after a transfer window expires. So if we take this year's transfer deadline day, for example, where the window shut in England at 7 p.m, that would allow Premier League clubs or EFL clubs or any clubs in England to complete a deal 2 hours after that. So it would allow them to get over the dotted line up until 9 p.m. local time in the UK. Of course, I shouldn't need to tell you why these deal sheets are necessary. Of course, these deals often run very much to the line. The amount of transfer deals, of course, that we saw during this window that were done on the final day, and indeed some that got cancelled even after the window actually closed. Look at Mark Gay trying to get to Liverpool, for example. That deal didn't happen. And I bet you if it was going to happen, then Liverpool would have had to submit a deal sheet to the Premier League in order to make it happen. Of course, there's a lot of administration work when it comes to these transfer dealings, a lot of contracts, a lot of official documents going back and forth between the player and the club, and the agent also involved as well. Not least, of course, intermediaries as well these days when it comes to transfers. There's a lot of different moving parts when it comes to getting these deals done, so it takes a long time to do so. So an extra 2 hours can make the difference. But a key part of this is that the deal sheet needs to be submitted anywhere between 5 and 7 p.m. if we use the example of the transfer window this season. So they can't just go, oh yeah, here's a deal sheet, Premier League, at 7 p.m. It's too late by then. They need to do so sometime between 5 and 7, and that will extend their window effectively when it comes to that specific transfer up until 9 p.m. if everything is all approved and everything is correct. And if they then complete the transfer before 9 p.m. in the case of this transfer window, all good. It's gone through. It's completed. Congrats. And these are becoming more popular in the Premier League. A record 9 of these were submitted in the August 2024 window. And some massive deals have been completed thanks to the deal sheet, not least, of course, Enzo Fernandez back in January 2023. His was done on a deal sheet, and that was a transfer that totaled over £100 million. However, for every success, there is also failure. Duncan Maguire from Orlando City, his move to Blackburn Rovers in the Championship didn't go ahead last year because the deal sheet was not submitted in time for the EFL. In terms of what's actually on a deal sheet, there's not really a lot there. It's quite basic, really. It just details the selling club, the buying club, the transfer fee, the guaranteed sums in terms of like installments and conditional things and stuff like that, and also any kind of contingency payments as well. Now, if this is not a domestic deal, if this is a deal involving a club from abroad, then it will also have to adhere to FIFA's regulations when it comes to that in order to get international clearance. This is effectively an online system that makes international transfers of players between clubs quicker, smoother, and more transparent. Obviously, things like emails, things like fax, they take a little bit more time, so they just use an online system for that, basically, when it comes to FIFA. Effectively, you just put all your documents into the portal, the selling club either confirms or denies that's the case, and then we just go from there. So there you go, guys. That is what a transfer deal sheet is. Hopefully you learned something there. What's your biggest transfer deadline day move ever? I mean, in terms of money, it's quite literally Alexander Isak this year going from Newcastle to Liverpool. But honestly, the drama around the likes of Luis Suarez, Andy Carroll, and also Fernando Torres back in, 2011, something like that. That was a huge one, without a doubt. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.